Honorable Men Discord, graduation etiquette. Let's talk about it.
How you see yourself is how you perceived. I see a man strong, gifted, head strapping, never down on his knees, begging. Gotta make a way, even in my darkest hour. Say the odds against me was new. I would never cower.
As always, welcome back to another episode. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Let's get into it. So I have a few videos queued up, and for the most part, all of them, I took off the audio. I don't want a copyright strike. I just need the visual for my presentation. The last video I have audio, and we'll get into it. But let's start with the first video. Actually, before we even get into the first video, the question that I pose, and I'd like to hear the response within the comment section. Is there a such thing as graduation etiquette? And if the answer is yes, what does that look like? And it's a serious question that I'm asking. Those two questions are serious. I'm not even being funny. The reason why I'm asking this is because the images that's out there, although some families feel like it's all in fun, it's all in celebration, I think it's too much. I think it's extreme. I think it makes us look like buffoons as a collective, because again, I say from time to time, the actions of some creates the perception of all of us. All right, do we all act the way some of these young children act? Young teenagers, I should say. These young teenagers act? No. Do we know people that may act like this? Yes. But this is not a true representation of the entire culture, the entire community, I should say. But unfortunately, this is what's going on. And if you can see in my search, I put black graduations, right? I didn't specify anything. I said black graduations. And unfortunately for us, for those of us that disagree with these type of activities, I should say, for those of us that disagree with these type of activities and performances, these are the things that pop up at the top of the feed. Not moments of us carrying ourselves with class, with pride, and showing that we can conduct ourselves like civilized human beings. And for those of you that disagree with me, I absolutely want to see you in the comments. Please explain to me how you justify this stuff. All right? Because this is why, after the smoke clears, after the celebration's finished, and some of these teenagers go into the work field, the employers have these images in their mind and think we all conduct ourselves like this. They don't take you serious in the work field. And for those of you who say, well, I don't plan to work for anyone, well, you're the exception to the rule. This episode is strictly for those that are going to go into the work field, which is many of us. Because not everyone's going to be a successful business owner. And that's not me trying to knock people's ambition. It's just the reality. Most of us are going to work for someone. And when images like this come out, when you sit down at the table and it's the option between the black prospect or another nationality, you wonder why they go with the other nationality. And it's not just because of these images, it's because of everything else that's thrown out there in public. News reports. If you don't believe these things matter in the grand scheme of things, you're highly mistaken. All right? Everything matters. All right? And then when we wonder why, when we try to have serious conversations about serious topics, some people don't even take us seriously. I was going to do an episode on that also, because there was two separate presentations that I saw from two different channels. They were actually interviews, and the black guests, and there was two separate channels, two separate topics. The black guests weren't even taken seriously. The host that was asking the questions chuckled throughout the interviews several times. And this is two totally separate channels, two totally separate topics. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because we're not taken seriously as a community. And if you disagree with me, let's talk about it in the comments and tell me how you figure we're taken seriously. But let me get to these images, right? So we're going to start with this one. And remember, they don't have audio, so just bear with me. And yes, this came out a while ago, but it's still relevant to talk about because what are we doing? And I'm going to say it, shame on the parents that co-sign this. You're part of the problems. You're part of the problem, the parents that co-sign this. Okay? That's the first video. I'm going to exit that one out because I have plenty more. Let's get into the next one. And for those of you that condone this and say there's nothing wrong with this, keep in mind, these individuals aren't the only ones graduating. Now, if the entire class is doing it, I still say shame on the parents condoning this. And the reason why I say keep in mind there's other people graduating is because the ceremony is not about these in particular individuals. It's about a class. They call it class of 2025, class of 2026, and so on and so forth. It's not about the individuals, although I know they're happy that they made it that far and they graduated, which is a good thing. But to make the whole entire ceremony about you and your whole, what feels like a 5-minute presentation performance is ridiculous. Now, I know it's not really 5 minutes, but you know what I'm saying. You know, there's other people waiting to cross the stage. There's other people waiting to accept their diplomas. And I think this is just, it's excessive. All right, so let's get into this one. And just to think, in the 60s and prior to the 60s, they had things like the minstrel show, which I covered back in February for Black History Month. You know, we're pretty much recreating the minstrel show. This is what we're doing out here. As if doing it on TikTok wasn't enough. Fine, people do it on TikTok. It's, you know, it's funny. It helps you pass time. You know, some of these kids are getting paid off of TikTok and all these other platforms for doing this stuff. It's all fun and games in the beginning until someone like me comes along and asks the deeper questions. Like, for all the people that are doing these type of performances during graduation, what was their GPA like? What was their attendance like? Because we know there's some individuals, the boys and the females and the girls, the boys and the girls that are underperforming in school, but they do just enough to graduate. And if that's the case, I definitely don't want to see you dancing like this. All right? I don't think it's acceptable even if they were valedictorians. But at least you can say, let them live. They made honors. Let them live. They got a scholarship to go to a university. How many of the individuals in these videos, and we may never know, right? How many of these individuals made honors? You get where I'm going with this? The purpose of graduation, yes, is to celebrate your accomplishment, which I applaud all of them for graduating. But do we need to do this? Do we need to do this? This is like chucking and jiving. Many of this stuff that I see on here looks like something that I would see on like Martin or in Living Color, SNL, and you name it, so on and so forth. It seems like comedy. They're having a good time, but they're looking silly in the process. And again, if you disagree with me, let's talk about it in the comments. That's what this channel's here for. I'm going to end it with this video because when I saw this, I was like, this is all I need to end it with. All right, and this one has audio, so let's go.
Jesse Little Boy Blue Williams.
So there you have it. And the banner in the back said 38th annual black graduation. Is this the new standard? Is this what we're doing? Who agrees with this? I don't agree with this at all. At all. At all. I think a smaller celebration. You walk. I mean, listen. I hate to sound like the old head, but I am. You know, I want to say in my time, which was many years ago, at most you'd walk across the stage, take a bow, and people would laugh because you're taking a bow like if you just finished a performance, but you didn't perform. You just took a bow because you're basically saying thank you for your applause type of thing, you know. But this is just excessive. I think it's too much. And again, he wasn't the only person that had to cross the stage. So imagine the person who had to come up after him and had to stand there and watch him do all of that, as if this whole entire ceremony was about him. I'm eager to hear your thoughts on this. I really am. But I'm against it. I think it just makes us look like buffoons. And again, at the end of the day, when we're out there in the real world looking to interview, these are the images that most of the employers have in their minds. And again, what is the GPAs looking like? What's the attendance looking like? That's what I want to know. We're not just going to celebrate for the sake of celebrating, especially at the magnitude that we've seen in these images. All right. That's my thoughts on this. I mean, this is falling right in line with the episode that I did on the proms. All right. Everything seems like within our community has to be excessive. And we could come up with excuses why we're doing it, but we're looking like buffoons whilst we're doing it. That's my thoughts. As always, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.